We're going to go to the word, but God is our provider. We're going to go to the book of Luke, the 18th chapter. Luke, the 18th chapter. And we'll be starting at the 9th verse. Luke 18th chapter, starting at the 9th verse. And this is Jesus in the red speaking. And our topic for tonight will be humble yourself. Humble yourself. And in Luke 18:9 it says, and he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in what the Bible say, them what? Themselves. That they were righteous and despised what? Others. You may be seated. The topic again tonight is being humble. How many people know that humbleness would take you a long place? And it take you places that you never thought you would be before. If people don't understand what humbleness is, let me give an example. Humbleness, example, when Jesus said he will wash his disciples' feet. Now, think about this now. Jesus come from heaven. Lord have mercy. And God sent him here for him to die on the cross. But Jesus humbled himself to kneel down to wash disciples' feet whom he chose to follow him. Now, y'all think about this. That's just like a king in these times walking around washing his servants' feet. People that watch over him. People that does things for him. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, here's God in the flesh, stooping down on his knees to wash a man's feet. Lord have mercy. Now, back in the days, y'all, they walked in sandals. They didn't have tennis shoes like we do. It was hot. You know your feet sweat. And after your feet sweat a little while, you know you may smell a little bit. But Jesus, humbled as he was, got on his knees and washed their feet. And one particular time, he said, no, Father, you ain't got to wash my feet. He said, well, if I can't wash your feet, you are none of mine. Why would Jesus say that? Because he wanted to be an example that you got to be humble in order to reach people. You got to be humble in order to move somewhere. You got to be humble. Listen, some people really, when they come in, they're ready to just jump and become something. Take a position to do something instead of sitting back and learning. I've seen people get off so fast instead of sitting back to hear what God has to say. Because guess what? It's what you do in the background that people don't see. is what God blesses you for. Because you don't have to be seen in order to be doing something for the Lord. And I learned something doing this in this ministry, is that I look and I admire the way our shepherd pastor runs this ministry. Because there are not many people, places in the church where you can go where she let all her ministers be used in one place. 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to ever get up there unless you just got to pray or say a word of comfort. Because the main pastor is always the one that's going to be giving the word all the time. But it's amazing because Pastor Beverly is humble enough to see the gift that God gave her to let them be used in this ministry. Now watch this, y'all. Because you're humble, you become and see the fruit of your labor. Because you can be cleaning floors, you can be cleaning up this place, you can be outside doing something, you can be cleaning the toilets. It doesn't matter if anybody see you or what you've done, but just know that God sees everything. It don't have to be where everybody can see you up here in the pulpit. Again, people don't realize, I remember this like day. I used to come here, I still do it. I used to come here to see what was needed to be done here, to do it without even nobody being here. But that was the heart that God gave me because he told me to do it. So I did it. Nobody had to tell me what to do because the Spirit of God told me to do it, and I did it. And guess what? Let me tell you something. I didn't get blessed by just not doing nothing. I didn't do it for something. I knew God was going to bless me regardless. I did it because the love of God, and God told me to do it, so I did it. And ain't nobody had to see me. Matter of fact, I'd rather nobody see me because God say, what you do in secret, I'll reward you in open. Boy, you preaching. Because it's about being humble, you all. It's about, it's also about being humble to show people you love them even though they may be mad at you. Or they may be thinking you done them something and you don't know you done them something and they're still mad at you. And so they start treating you wrong. But you got to always remain humble. How many know some people get on your last nerve? And you got to always remain calm and humble and still love those people because you got to show Jesus in you no matter where you at. How you going to win somebody if you act just like them? This is what Jesus is saying in this particular topic in Luke 18:9. And he spake this parable, it says, to certain which trusted in who? They trusted in who? Themselves. Man, me and Pastor Beverly always say this all the time. Don't trust yourself. Yourself gonna mess you up. Because if you do what yourself want, 9 times out of 10, it ain't good. Y'all think about this. If Jesus did not have, boy, we didn't read this word. And we didn't come and Jesus came into our hearts. And we did not do what the Bible say. Y'all know we'll be some jacked up people. Because we'd have thought about, man, y'all think about this. When you was out in the world, you didn't care about nothing. You didn't care what you did. You didn't care what anybody saw you doing. You did it anyway. Because the flesh wanted to do what it did. And so we gave the flesh what it wanted. How many know when you come to God, it ain't about us? And that's why he's saying they trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others. You know, you got people so high-minded and so high-righteous that they look at other people and turn their nose up at them. Man, that ain't nothing Jesus talking about in there. Jesus ain't talking about despising people. He's talking about being humble at all times. How you going to be righteous and you despise other people? And Jesus saw this. And so he say, 2 men went up into the temple to do what? To pray. The one a Pharisee, y'all watch this, and the other a publican. Now, I'm thinking about this, and look what it says in verse 11. The Pharisee stood up and prayed thus with himself. God, I thank thee. Lord, look at this, y'all. Self-righteousness. You understand? Self-righteousness. And prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men or extortioners, unjust adulterers, or even as this publican. Lord, have mercy. How can you pray talking about somebody? Jesus. Now, this Jesus giving an example. Turn to Romans, you all. Romans 10:3. Romans 10, and we coming back to where you're at, to Luke 18. Romans 10:3. You got to be humble. You know, it's funny how, you know, some people, they want to do this and they want to do that, but they don't want to do what the Lord tells them to do. How you going to do something that God did not tell you to do? Because it tell you you're going to be jacked up. Romans 10:3. It says, for they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own what? Have not submitted themselves unto what? What? You mean to tell me when you see them folks acting a fool and talking about people and acting a fool like that, they have not submitted unto God? Because I love to speak this word, because when I read this sometimes, I be like, ooh, ouch. Man, I wonder if everybody read this and get understanding like this. Because the Bible will humble you, man. He said, you're being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about establishing their own righteousness, meaning I got my own religion because I'm going to do what I want. Everybody else ain't doing right except me. Well, why is that? Because you got your own righteousness. There's a lot of Christians, y'all, that will put you down, that think they more than you, because they got more than you, and because their bank account bigger than yours, but yet they act like they're more holy than you. This is what the Bible talking about. Man, I don't know about you, but we serve the same God. I don't know about you, but our God does the same thing for you he does for me. There's no difference. The Bible says there's no respect of person. So money shouldn't change you. Houses and cars shouldn't change you. Just because I might have a smaller car than what you got does not make you more holier than me. That's how people think. That's their own righteousness. And look how the Bible talks about them. Now, if I'm a person that act like that and think like that, and I read this Bible, that means God has had to put a self-check on me. Because that means I have to get it right if I'm living that type of life. It's funny, but we're talking about holiness, righteousness, and being humble. And this is the only way that you're going to make it in this life and with Christ, because we can't just live no any kind of way and expect God to be a blessing to us. It says, have not submitting themselves unto righteousness of God. For Christ is the who? The end of the law. For righteousness to everyone that what? You got to believe what you read. You got to believe and see what God is doing. Go back to Luke 18:9. So verse 10 say 2 men went up into the temple to pray. Two men went up into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee, the other a publican. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself. Oh, see what he said? Himself. God, I thank thee that he didn't say, look how he praying, y'all. I thank thee that Lord have mercy. Self-righteousness. You see him talking about himself? I did this. I did that. I'm this person. I'm the man. I'm the woman. But we better be careful what we say. That's what the Bible is speaking about. When we put the I, and not us and we're in trouble. If it's about me, we're in big trouble. I am not as other men or extortioners, unjust adulterers, or even as this public. Now, man, you don't even know this man. And here this man up in here, y'all think about this. I'm going to give you an example. I done been in church all my life. People may have seen me living, just giving you an example, for Christ. But I might be the biggest devil when I leave here. And I come in, and there's somebody at the altar praying to God. And I'm going to say, God, I may have saw that man do something that may not be right. But I don't know that man's life, what he has done when he came to this altar, right? That man must have got his life right with Christ. Now, I'm been in here 50 years, and I'm going to come here and say, oh, I saw him drinking last night. What you doing at the altar? Huh? You can't do that. Because this is what God is saying right here. You got to humble yourself. Now you feel like you more than somebody because you may have seen them messed up, but them people at the altar, y'all watch this. Because God's showing us an example. People living self-righteously. And they're judging other folks. I've learned that God say, you got to check yourself before you can go up there talking about somebody else. Because we don't know who them people are, what them people doing with God. What if them people just a second before gave their life to Christ and God cleaned them up and you go up there talking about them people? That's why I say I will never put my mouth on nobody because I don't know them people. I won't say nothing. If I don't see it, I better yet, I ain't got nothing to say because God got that. I keep my mouth off them people because guess what? God said, touch not my anointing, do them no harm. Because if them people done got their life right and you said that talking about them people, you're going to have to get yourself checked with God. I learned something in Christ, man. I say, God, I'm going to live this life because this is an individual thing, y'all. God wants us all living right, but not righteous-minded as we don't make mistakes ourselves. You know, there's nobody in here that say they ain't never done nothing. We all, it must be, you know, you must not be living. Because I know what I done a long time ago. I can't talk about nobody. I know what my life was like back then. But God cleaned us up. Nobody has the right to judge anybody. But Bible does say that you're going to know them by their fruits. So if they showing these bad fruits, well, you know that's bad fruits. And they're not living like they're supposed to be living for Christ. But that ain't for us to tell them that. We just go there and show them love and ask them if they want to know who Christ is. We go back and bring them back to Christ. Go to Luke 16 and right before Luke 16 and 13. Talking about being humble, you all. Luke 16, 13. What it say, y'all? No servant can serve two what? For either he will hate what? And love the what? or else he will hold to the who? And despise the what? You cannot serve God and what? You going to serve God or you going to serve the devil? Simple and plain. Man, when I started reading this Bible, man, and God gave me these choices, say, you going to love me or you going to hate me? You going to be with me or you ain't going to be with me? You know, there's no middle. You know how they got these roads where they got the suicide lanes? I call them suicide because they give them, you can turn in the middle and another car come in the way. I hate them lanes. Because some people don't even watch you. They drive the whole middle lane. So you know what I'm saying? So it's dangerous in the middle lane. Y'all think about that. Good example, God. And so I'd rather stay right there on my side of the lane till it's time to get in there to turn. But knowing God, I'm saying from this point, I want to stay straight. I don't want to veer off. Because God said you can't be hot and cold. You either hot or you're cold. You can't be lukewarm. So he's telling us, you're going to serve me or you're going to serve the devil. I don't know about anybody else, but I know everybody in here ain't nothing like serving God. It can't, man. Ain't amount of money in this world could make me give up God. They're stupid if they think so. I don't care if somebody offers me $1 billion. I'm going to say, take your money and go about your business. And people might look at you, this dude is a fool. No, because them $1 billion can't go nowhere with me. When I leave here, guess what? I'm going to be a rich devil. And I'm going to hell when I leave here. Money is not worth your soul. Man, people are crazy. I don't care what you can offer me every dollar that's in the United States, and I'm going to say I don't want it. I serve Jesus. And them people going to say that man done lost his mind. And I'm going to say I lost my mind because I love Jesus. Because when I leave here, I got all the riches I need when I leave here. Man, there's nothing in this world can compare to how good God is to us, y'all. Nothing. No man, no woman, no thing. Look, give me God, that's all I need. Give us Jesus, that's all we need. Jesus. And look what it says. And the Pharisees also who were covetous heard all these things in verse 14. And they derided him. See, when you tell people the truth, when them people hear that, what they gonna do? Boy, look what they did Jesus. They say, well, who he think he is? You know, telling me I can't serve God and mammon and I can't do this. I got to live righteous and holy. Who he is? They derided him, meaning they got mad at Jesus. Why they got mad, y'all? Because let me tell you something. I know nobody wants to be wrong all the time. You know, we always don't want to be pointed out. But the simple fact is, y'all, you got to take your lick and just get cleaned up and say, ouch, that was me. Because until you recognize you got a problem, you cannot fix the problem. So when Jesus said that, it must have stuck him. So when you preach this word and you live this life, you all, people ain't going to like it. They ain't going to want you to live right. They ain't going to want to see you. They ain't going to want to talk to you because they know you living for Christ. And they know something different about you too. I bet you. And look what he says. And he said unto them, verse 15. Look what he tell them, boy. Jesus told them people off. Ye are they which justify yourself before who? See, you want men to see you living right, and you're supposed to be living righteous and holy. But he said, but God knows your what? Man, you can't lie to God. All that shata-ba-ba, all that stuff, and you going out there acting like a devil. God see everything. Not, man, see, look, it's hard to tell people this, but it's a fact. I don't care where you go. Nobody know you if you go in another city. Just know one thing. You can try to act like you're living right all you want, but when you go out of town and nobody see you, just know that God sees everything. We can't hide from God. So whatever we do is right there. And you know how God, it was so funny because I started thinking about that one day. And I said, you know how them kids, how you play peekaboo with them kids? I said, that's how God be like with us. Peekaboo, I see you. Yeah, you think, oh, nobody know I'm here. God see you. Peekaboo, where you are? Why you can't move? God see everything. So we can't hide from God. God said, I know your heart. For that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in sight of what? So if you act like you all that, you don't got all high-minded like you can't talk to nobody, and you turn your nose up at people, but you're supposed to be this child of God, man, we need to check ourselves if we living like that. That's what Jesus talking about, being humble. It's abomination in the sight of God, the Bible says. Go to Proverbs 30 and 11. We coming back to Luke 18. Proverbs 30 and 11. Lord Jesus. This is what's going on right now. There's a generation that curses their father. This for the kids, but also it's for grown-ups too. This Bible don't exclude nobody. This for everybody. There's a generation that curses their father and does not bless their mother. Woo! There's a generation that are pure in their own what? And yet it's not washed from their what? You're all dirty, but you got to talk about somebody else. That's the Bible. Boy, it's in the word, man. There's a generation, oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are what? You know what that means? That means the eyelids, they do this to you. They get that little smirk like, I don't even want to talk to you. They turn up their nose. That's what that is. They're lifting up their eyelids. They be like, That's what they're doing. That's what the Bible says. When you walk around, they go, Yeah? God talk about that too in the Bible. Ain't that something? There's a generation that lifts up their eyelids and they are lifted up. Look, that's what it is, acting like you are nobody.